welcome. Thanks for joining us here today. Today, our special guest is Zack Deris. He's a dynamic leader in the world of Web3, sales systems, and community building. Zack's the founder and CEO of Zack Deris Training Solutions, a renowned agency specializing in growth, marketing, and sales training with more than 3,330 client engagements. His expertise in LinkedIn and social selling has transformed the way business scale their operations and build meaningful connections. Strategies have generated seven figures for clients, and his LinkedIn content reaches over 5 million readers annually. He has more than 20,000 followers on his LinkedIn profile. With a career that began in sales in 2009, Zack discovered the power of LinkedIn in 2014 and has spent the last decade perfecting the art of social selling and business development. He's helped agencies, marketing departments, and independent consultants maximize their sales potential by leveraging social media to build lasting relationships. Not just an entrepreneur, Zack has also taken a strategic advisory role on several Web3 companies, helping build better and fairer internet solutions. He's a master of art of engaged communities, hosting over 1,000 events and scaling his own community from scratch to 700 members. Join us today as we explore Zack's unique journey, his vision for the future of AI-driven sales systems, and how entrepreneurs, job seekers, and executives can harness the power of digital tools to scale their own ventures. That's a mouthful. Welcome, Zack.
Wow.
Thanks for joining us here.
I'm very grateful. That was a lovely introduction, man. I appreciate you. You've done your research. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's all you, Zack. And I just want to kick this off by just sharing a quick anecdote with our listeners here about how I met you.
Okay.
And I don't know if you remember this, Zack,
I
but
remember.
for me, it just really captures the essence of hustle. Okay, so I'll set the stage here. I do a lot of webinars and I do a lot of LinkedIn Live so I can learn. I'm always interested in learning new things. And I was on this LinkedIn Live webinar, and it had something ridiculous, like 5 or 10,000 RSVP attendees, which sounded kind of sketchy to me. I didn't know what it was, but I jumped on there, eager to learn more about how I could use LinkedIn to connect with my audience, as an entrepreneur. And I was sitting there and nothing was going on. And there was a little chat window. And I was just sitting there for like 5 minutes, so kind of waiting for this thing to start. Then Zack reaches out to me. I was like, who's this guy, Zack? And he says, hey, if you're interested in learning more about LinkedIn, join me in this, I think it was like a chat. I think you pulled me into
The
some sort of
community.
community. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So, this other podcast or this other thing wasn't working. So I joined Zack in there, and it was me and a handful of folks. And that's how I met you, Zack. And for me, that just epitomizes, hustle and really connecting with your audience. Anyway, that was the beginning of a friendship and an opportunity for me to learn more about what you do. And I bought your course and I jumped in and been part of your community since.
Thank
So
you.
anyway, for our audience out there, that was how my connection, my relationship with Zack began. So
I want to talk about that, man. That's a very, very, very good sales process that people can actually utilize. So, like, just to really hone in on that, you're right. There was an event that some dude was hosting, and there's like a little gimmicky hack that some people do where from a company page on LinkedIn, they create an event like a year ago, but every single week, 2 to 3 minutes just before the event's supposed to go live. And it's always an external link to a Zoom meeting or a Google Meet or something like that. 2 to 3 minutes before the event goes live, they push the date for the following week. This way, the quantity of RSVPs remains the same and continues to increase. So that particular one, I know exactly who you're talking about. He launched that event like 2 years ago. So that's why it was actually like 45,000 RSVPs. It was something crazy.
yeah.
So I'm just like paying attention to the comments because I was trying to get in just to see what this guy does. And I could see so many people were messaging, I can't get in. What's going on? Like, that's how you build a FOMO. So it was not a community, correct me. I just opened up my Zoom room. I just said to people, look, I'm no that person's name, right? I'm not going to name him here. I'm no that person's name. But if you want, I know a thing or two as it relates to LinkedIn. I've built my business off it. Jump in my Zoom room and I'll give you all some advice. So I found this presentation I did like 3 weeks prior, a paid group consultation I did for a client. So like I quickly tweaked it as people were joining the room, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna show you all this great stuff. And the call to action was, I have a free community where I teach people these things every single week. Just come through. And I think we had like 70 new people join the community after that, which was really good fun. It was really nice. And
Yeah.
it just shows you like there are opportunities everywhere, right? There's opportunities to build relationships everywhere. And this is why some people say you have to think outside the box. I like to think outside of the triangle, right? And just
Yeah.
like find every single way to build relationships. But it was a good memory, man. I laugh at all the weird stuff I do to be able to sell. It's crazy.
Well, what struck me is just like, how LinkedIn, like, there's no one formula, and
Yeah,
things are evolving and
yeah.
changing all the time. And I think that's sort of a testament to just how fast technology, how fast the world, how fast entrepreneurship is evolving. And thinking outside of the box is becoming, just sort of a table stake kind of skill that will set you apart. So anyway, I'm really excited, Zach, to kind of dig in with you and obviously learn more about your journey, how you got to where you are today, what some of the challenges you're facing, and kind of what your vision is for the future. So I know that there's a lot of folks in our audience today that are, they're in tech, they're kind of up to speed on, well, not entirely up to speed because things are moving so fast, but they're trying to keep up to speed with, sort of emerging technologies, AI, Web3, community-based marketing, and just, what the future might look like for entrepreneurs and even just the future of work. So I'd love to kind of explore some of these topics with you, but before we dive into some of that stuff, we'd like to learn a bit more about your personal journey. I think you and I had talked a little bit about this, but there was a transition that you made from earning a good amount of money in a sales position and sort of making that leap into becoming an entrepreneur. And would love to hear a little bit more about that, because there's a lot of folks out there that are struggling with managing their career right now. How do they make that jump? Is that jump for them? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a leap of faith. Can you eat? Some folks don't have the luxury. Maybe they have a mortgage or a family. How do they transition into that career of the future? Maybe it's not a hardline entrepreneurship thing, but maybe there's something blended in the middle. Anyway, we'd love to hear about your journey and kind of how that relates to some of the folks that are on this journey today.
Yeah, no, 100%. What you said right now just got me thinking about a song that I'm beginning to write where one of the lyrics is the struggles you receive are a test of time. The world throws you down to reset your mind. It will take you to your deepest, darkest place, rock bottom, only for you to start again. And what that essentially means is that in order for anyone, entrepreneur or not, to have success, like the success is kind of like how a phoenix rises from the ashes, right? In the mythical stories. You have to hit rock bottom. You have to be at one of the worst points in your life for true success to come to life. Because when you force it, it's never going to happen. It has to come completely naturally. And this is why I'm always a huge advocate for people like going through the traditional education system and like career paths and all of this stuff, because it is important, and everything that you do learn from the very first job that you are paid to do from your employer, it's all skill sets that you're going to be able to utilize for when you start your own business. Because I'm the advocate that I want every single, and this isn't possible, otherwise we wouldn't have no corporations, but I want
Yeah.
every single person in this world, all 8 billion of us, to have their own business. Because with the technology that we have access to, it's possible. There are like 12-year-olds that are making 100 grand a year by making faceless YouTube channels, right? All with AI. They don't make the voice, they don't make the videos or the pictures or anything like that. They use 3 or 4 AI tools. They throw the content onto YouTube and then they're monetizing it, right? And they are basically doing this in their bedroom after school. So for me, where all of this started from is that growing up, I had a severe speech impediment, like so bad. And I chuckle whenever I talk about it. I couldn't even say, hi, my name is Zach. It will come out as like, hi, my name is Zach, right? And that was like triggered right now. So it was a little bit organic. And I did everything from like going to speech therapy to hypnotherapy and all of this stuff. And then when I maybe like 8 or 9 years old, my older sister, she introduced me to Eminem, right? And, I just learned to rap his music, right? I just like learned every single word. And that's how I essentially part of the ways that I overcome the fear of my speech impediment. So it was at that point that I noticed that if I put my mind to something, because I had this big problem as a kid in school, the teacher would ask me to read out the book. I would pick up the chair and throw it, right? Not at the teacher, right? But like I'd get angry because I'm like, I can't. Why are you forcing me to do it? But now I understand why. They were trying to get me out of my comfort zone. So I decided, even though up until the age of like 20 and even till today, even when we will speak privately, my speech impediment will come out sometimes. And probably during this podcast, you're probably going to hear it a couple times. But in order to push myself, I said to myself that I'm not going to, in my career, I'm not going to have a behind the scenes kind of job. I'm always going to do a customer facing client type of role where I have to interact and talk to people. So every single job I took before I launched my business, it was always sales focused. Initially customer service, right? But then sales focus. Done everything from, well, a paper boy, which was weird but tough, right? I like going to knock on people's doors and be like, "Hey, like I've got paper. Do you want to buy it?" It was crazy. Just the coffee, door to door sales, which later on I found that it was a pyramid scheme and I left, right? But that was a good character building exercise. Insurance, magazine sales, exhibition sales, conferencing, SaaS, like absolutely everything. And then where I really realized that I could sell is between 2012, I think, to 2017. I was working as kind of like the head of sales, but for my own team that I built at a magazine publishing firm. And we had 3 offices worldwide, Eric, and did about 30 sales staff. I was the number one sales staff that they've ever seen come into the company within, I think, every single month. My target was like 30 sales. I'll do 70 or 80 or something ridiculous like that. Then in June of 2014, I hit my target early and I said to my manager, Emma, can I shout out to Emma? And yeah, I've always used the platform for LinkedIn to research our clients, but I haven't ever used it to try to sell to them, right? I got 10 days off. I can either train the team, screw around, or do absolutely nothing because you're a salesperson. It's what you do when you hit your target. Or can I try to figure this thing out? And she was like, go for it. Because she isn't going to do anything as a good manager, right? Like, she isn't going to do anything to hold back her best salesperson. And in 10 days, I picked up the phone once and I was a cold caller, right? I picked up the phone once. I hit 110% of my target, which was about like 45 sales. And all the orders were processed online through the website. And I was like, I'm not cold calling again. And she was like, no, you have to cold call. And I'm like, I don't need to cold call. So what I did was I built a social selling team within that organization. I left for a couple of months and I told my boss I'll be back, but I need to leave and really figure this thing out. So I got myself accredited and certified as a social selling expert, even though I hate that title, for LinkedIn.
So
I
yeah,
came
you were an early mover, early adopter in learning how to leverage LinkedIn to
Yeah, this is
connect.
2014.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was fun. And things have changed massively. Like back then, it was so much easier to sell because nobody was making content. Nobody
yeah.
was trying to sell. It was mainly only recruiters, right, that would reach out to businesses and reach out to candidates and things like this. But when it came to B2B and B2C, surprisingly, it was a niche quantity of individuals. So then fast forward, right, to 2017, I calculated how much money I was making my boss, which was about 5 million a year. And I was only getting maybe like 2 to 3 grand commission checks a month. And I was like, something's not right. So I decided I'm going to quit because I realized if I can find customers for my boss via LinkedIn, I can do this myself.
Yeah.
I can do it myself. So I did, right? I took the summer off. I quit, took the summer off. And again, back to what I said at the beginning, this is one of the most challenging times of my life. I was going through a deep depression. I was like not really financially stable. Things were just not great, like in all ends. I was bold, right? Like I was basically doing things I shouldn't be doing. And then come to September 2017, 2018, whenever it was, I locked myself in my room, blasted the Red Hot Chili Peppers on repeat for maybe 5 days straight. And I messaged 800 people every single day until finally someone agreed to speak to me, right? And I made my first deal as an independent consultant for £606.66, right? I just decided to charge them that because that's a number I would remember, right? Because I knew I was going to tell this story one day. And then since then, like honestly, Zack Deris Training Services, just thought I'd correct you on that, not solutions.
Yeah.
I take pride. It's cool. I take pride in the brand. Yeah, that was born, and things have been insane. And a really funny thing to mention. Yesterday, me and my wife, Maggie, who's my COO, we're like 50-50 in the business. She does the back end, I do the front end. We were saying, how did we do all of these things that we do with ChatGPT and AI today 2 years ago? Like, how did we manually do all of these things? And it's insane. Like ChatGPT right now is like 3 of our employees.
Yeah.
It's insane, right? And I'm like back to 2021, 22. There was no ChatGPT. We had stuff like Jasper AI and things like this, but you didn't have ChatGPT, and we were manually doing all of these things, which really gets you thinking. Like, give it another 5 years, like everything that salesperson does is going to be with AI.
Yeah.
Everything.
Zach, so many gems here to unpack.
Let's
I
go.
think I'll start with you and your wife working together.
You're the
How,
same.
yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah.
How and when did that evolve? And, what are your learnings from that experience?
Okay. I hope she don't mind me telling the story, but she was so as we were in 2020 COVID times, right? Like obviously anyone who worked for a company, they had to work from home, right? So me being a business owner, I didn't really have an office at that point. I did rent some office space, but I didn't really use it. So I was working from home. She was employed at her job, and I could just see how much stress she was under, like every single day. That particular line of work that she had. And I just said to her, there was like one day where I was like, "Hey, after work, I really need your help with something because the reason why I'm so good at the LinkedIn platform is because of my wife, right? So it was about 2013. We're from the UK, right? From the main city for London. But in 2011, 2012, we moved to the seaside just because it was cheaper to find a property there for us to
Yeah.
live. And we were able to move out of my mom's place, right? But then we moved back to London and I got this magazine job like straight away. And I would come home every day and she was applying for jobs, right? Then one day I was like, what are you doing? I saw like, I don't know, coffee or Red Bull on the desk and she was just like going crazy on the computer. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she was like, I reached out to 1,400 people today via LinkedIn and I've got like 5 interviews. I was like, what? It just blew my mind.
So just leveraging that
I
platform.
I think the internet cut out. I don't know. Can you hear me still?
I can hear you, Zach. Can you hear me? Zach, testing.
Cool. Yeah. So
Okay.
I'll just quickly do that again. The internet cut out. So I came home. I saw that she was super busy on the computer, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And she was like, "I messaged 1,400 people via LinkedIn, and I've got like four or 5 interviews." And I was like, "How?" And I sat beside her. I pulled up a chair, and she just showed me every single person that she messaged, and I was like, within the space of a day you can reach 1,400 people. That's insane. That was crazy to me.
That's
So
where,
yeah,
that's where,
like
that's where it clicked.
it
When
was
you,
it was an aha moment. It was like aha, but that aha moment it didn't really hit until a few years afterwards when I was doing my sales job. But that was like the initial time when I decided to go onto LinkedIn. I had a profile, but I didn't really use it. And then I decided to like post a little bit of content, connect with some people, and it was crazy. So it's thanks to Maggie that I learned it. But anyways, bringing it full circle, I asked her to help me out with a couple of tasks after work, and she did it 2 hours faster than it would take me to do it. And I was like, okay, I see that you hate your job, right? You're very valuable to me if you were to join this business. You've seen what I've done during COVID and the amount of money that we've made. Can you please take a risk, quit your job, and we will do this together? And she quit the next day, you know?
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah,
There's for folks that you know
she's a legend. I love
it's
her. She's awesome.
yeah. I mean, it sounds like you have a great personal relationship and a great business relationship. And I guess, I'm just curious about any of the learnings there. Like, did it just sort of gel right then and there, or like were there, sort of ups and downs? And
Oh, yeah.
some people swear that don't get into business with your family, don't get into business with your friends. But there's other folks that, myself included, like if you have a solid foundation at a
Yeah.
personal level, those are be a rock solid foundation upon which to build, a professional relationship and even, an entrepreneurial business. And so I'm just curious on your take there.
No, for sure. It speaks a lot to the individual's character who says not to get into business with family, right? It speaks to their character. For me, the biggest challenge was trying to manage my wife, right? Like trying to give her tasks and to manage her and course correct and all of that stuff because like I'm the opposite of confrontational, right? And like every single couple, for sure, we argue and we have spats and all of this stuff, but like we understand that when it's business, there's no emotion there, right? Like we have a common goal. And as early as today, there was one particular thing that I was adamant that I should do for the business, and she sat me down. She explained the pros and cons, and then we both made a common agreement that it's actually a really bad decision, right? That I go ahead and do that. But me with my impulsive drive, trying to think, where's the hustle, where's the money, and all of this stuff, I'm like, go, 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 go. But she really keeps me in check, and that's why it's a 50-50 partnership because she is I'm Zack Deris. She is speech impediment, right? Getting shy. And Maggie, both are Darius, so it's the Darish training services. I'm considering dropping the first name, but we'll see. But yeah, no, it's great fun. There are for sure like rules and boundaries that you need to put into place. Like this is an exception because you're a friend and I'm on a podcast, right? But like normally after 6 p.m. we don't work. We never work on the weekends. That was not always the case. 22 was our biggest year ever because of NFT and Web3 and stuff like this. We were both working till 11 p.m. at night, 7 days a week. We didn't stop, right? And yeah, no. Once we went into 2023, we was like, okay, we're gonna slow down a bit because we know how to do it. Let's work harder. Very smarter, not harder, right? And yeah, it's just like small things. Like after we leave the office, we leave the computers up here, we leave our phones up here occasionally, right? And yeah, yeah,
Setting boundaries is
it's
so
fun.
important,
Yeah.
and to have, I know this word is used overused, but the work-life balance is real,
Oh
and
yeah.
if yeah, and it sounds like you have some pretty good things that you guys have put into place, and now with AI, it sounds like you guys are delegating a lot of you guys are increasing your capacity to so is it just you and Maggie, or do you guys have a team?
No, we have a team who are junior lead generation, content creation, and things like this because we can't do everything. However, a good portion of that team is also ChatGPT. If you know how to use it properly,
Yeah.
right, it can do some phenomenal things for you. And last note, at the beginning of this week, a client of mine who I'm taking them through some growth advisory, they told me about Clay, right? And Clay is insane. I would say easily 7 hours this week I've spent researching Clay, learning about it, because what Clay does is allow you to build AI automated workflows to make everything sync together. So I can tell, like, build I think it's called a waterfall on Clay, where it says, go to LinkedIn, gather this profile, put them into Apollo, send them a connection request, add them to the CRM, send them an email, right? A human being normally has to do these things manually,
Yeah.
one to one to one. But now I can just build a workflow and Clay's going to do this stuff for me, right? So it's like, we have times in each month where we've got it on the calendar to research and find new AI tools, right, that we can utilize in the business. And with me, every single tool that I learn and I get myself certified and trained on, I resell that as a service to my customers. Right. So it's very beneficial. The more I learn, the more I can sell and the more I can teach.
Yeah. I mean, you hit the nail on the head in terms of continual learning. What are your thoughts on the future of work, Zach? Like,
um,
what
yeah.
is entrepreneurship
Okay.
yesterday, and what is entrepreneurship? What does it mean to be an entrepreneur tomorrow? Where do you see that going?
Going back to what I said earlier about like 14-year-old kids in their bedroom, like making money from YouTube and stuff like this, your online presence is so important. And we're going to start to move to the age where like AI personas and avatars are really going to become the influencers of the world. Right now, like businesses like influencer agencies have existed for the past like 10 to 15 years. But now a company like Nike or Google or whoever, they can create their own hyper realistic AI avatar and have a social media presence of over 20 million people where they're just promoting their products. They don't need to pay money to Ronaldo or Messi or a super famous sports player. They can just go ahead and build one, right? So these kids who learn to utilize AI right now, you're going to be incredibly successful in the future because there's so much that you can do. I have friends and staff in Nigeria, the Philippines, and in India who come from like really poor economic conditions that are making more money than the people that I grew up with, because
That,
they AI, they use the internet properly. They're not just doom scrolling every single day. They go onto the University of YouTube, which I like to call it, because you can find everything there and it's free. They use like Hugging Face and GitHub and ChatGPT to learn about new AI tools and just put practice into motion consistently. And this is why we have a dedicated time of the month every single month where we have to learn new things. Because if you're not going to learn it now, you're stuck. You're
yeah,
stuck behind. And
this
then
seems like
and then and then you're going to be that person that's going to buy a 20 grand course 5 years from now just to learn about AI when you could have learned it all for free right now.
yeah. I mean, it seems like you're very intentional about carving out time for
Yeah.
dedicated learning.
For everything, even going to the shower, man. My calendar is insane. Like at the beginning of every single, at the end of every single month, we plan our calendars for the following 30 days, sometimes 60 days, and everything is in there, from like dates that we have to go on to keep the relationship alive, right? To feeding the cat, to going to a shower, to education, right? Like to household stuff, to for absolutely everything. Because if you work on a computer for like 8 to 10 hours every single day, you can lose track of reality. So just by keeping yourself structured and organized, you'll have a massive productivity switch and you'll be able to do more. Like that's
Yeah,
the most important thing. One thing that I really like that I learned from Gary Vaynerchuk is that he reduced all his 20-minute meetings to a 7-minute meeting, because he realized for at least 3, 4 minutes they're just talking shit, right?
yeah,
And then for another 2, 3 minutes at the end, it's like, oh, so what do you have planned next? Like, are you going anywhere this week? You don't need any of that, right? You send
yeah,
an agenda, you have the meeting for 7 minutes, you discuss whatever you need to, and everything else can be discussed on Slack.
yeah, yeah. No, I love that. It means there's sort of a pattern interrupt there. Like, why do we have to schedule 30-minute meetings, right? Like, or 15-minute meetings? It could be some odd number, right? And yeah. So, if I'm a job seeker and I am sort of there's a lot of folks struggling out there to find new opportunities and new work. What would be your recommendation in terms of getting sort of up to speed on AI, on Web3, and maybe you can even explain to our audience what is Web3, and how, if I'm a job seeker, somebody that's looking to sort of manage my career more effectively or position myself for new opportunities, how should I be thinking about some of these emerging technologies or platforms?
So I'll start by answering the question about what is Web3, right? So if you think about what was Web 1, that was the first iteration of the internet, right? Where we had AOL and the dial-up modems and all of that stuff, right? And then connectivity to the internet was like through your name and your password and all of this stuff. Then Web 2 was when businesses and platforms and engines began integrating email signups, right? So now if you go to a site, Amazon or to Netflix or whatever, rather than typing in your name and your email address, right, you can just click that Google button or the Facebook button or that Apple button and sign up to that platform through your online persona, which is your email or your Facebook or something like that. Web3 is kind of the same in that sense, where it's your online persona. It's obviously governed by the blockchain and cryptocurrency and tokens, but it's like it's the next iteration of the internet. It's where we go after that. And a lot of people have gone to state that Web3 is virtual worlds, virtual reality, a metaverse, Roblox and Fortnite and all of this stuff. But to me personally, what Web3 is the opportunity for freedom, for financial freedom. That's what it is. Because Web3 has obviously the online currencies, right? All the digital currencies from Ethereum to Bitcoin to Solana to the other 30,000 tokens that are available on the internet. They've given people in the harshest economic situations the opportunity to earn good money, right? There are people that can go online, they can complete tasks, they can engage in a post, they can buy a currency for a cheap price, or they can join what we call an airdrop in a Web3 space where they promote a project and earn tokens for that project just by promoting it, right? And they're earning really good money. I know 19-year-old kids in all over Africa that have a net worth of over 100 grand USD because of the fact that they've just they've shilled other tokens airdrop protocols to be able to earn money. So it's like if there was no Web3, there was no future opportunities. It's probably not the best example, but like that's what it is to me. It's just opportunities. There are so many good real world use cases from WAs and so many other things that we don't even have time to go into right now, why Web3 is so important. But I would say the essence of Web3 is community. Because every single project that is created within the Web3 space, it has that community tonality towards it. In order for a project to be successful, you need your investors, you need your customers, you need your backers. Rather than calling them your investors, your customers, and your backers, you call them your community, you get them involved inside the project, you make an even amount of a distribution, and you allow people to be rewarded within this
Yeah,
community for promoting your project, and you all grow together because individually you can be successful, right? But together you can be absolutely phenomenal.
yeah.
So, I mean, that's what it is to me.
Yeah, it sounds like the technology is able to reduce friction across um, across communities, whereby these communities can come together, even in sort of, I don't even know if this is the right term, but like people can do sort of micro work or micro
Mm-hmm.
contributions to a larger cause. And in aggregate, and that could be distributed across all the different participants. And the technology is sort of reducing the friction and enabling that. So you have, what is the word? Distri- Distributed, automated, autonomous organizations like DAOs.
DAOs. DAOs, yeah. DAOs are great, man. I mean, it's like that's one of the areas of the industry that I really appreciate because there is no company that has been successful just because of one individual, right? And the traditional corporate structure where you've got the board of investors, the shareholders, the CEOs, and C-suite and head and managers and directors, managers, and then entry level. It just doesn't make sense in this industry. So what DAOs have essentially done, a group of individuals have created a concept for a project. They've all equally either invested their time or their finances to be able to build that project. And then whatever finance that's been generated through this business is equally been able to be shared, right? Not only between the DAO governed board, but the community members as well. Because anyone who is within a DAO community, they are part of the DAO themselves. So even if they just come to contribute by engaging in a post, for example, they're part of the DAO and they receive contributions because of that. So
Yeah. Well, what is the stage or sort of the stage of evolution of sort of Web3? I'm trying to sort of bridge the gap in my mind between sort of this, kind of what you were describing with the DAOs and, blockchain and all this. I'm trying to bridge the gap between that, which is my understanding of Web3, and some of the things like just community-based marketing and building communities. It's not obvious to me like how they're directly connected, but I'm still learning about community-based marketing and sort of building those funnels. But would love to hear you talk a little bit about, what is community-based marketing? Why is it important? And how does that relate to, if at all, Web3?
So communities have always been around, right? Ever since we were kids, there's always
Yeah.
been a community of friends that we had, or the area that we grew up in, right, or the neighborhood or whatever. Thanks to, with emphasis, the pandemic, Web3 industry really took off because everyone was forced into their homes, right? They got bored, they went online, they jumped onto Reddit and Twitter and all of this stuff. People started trading tokens, and then NFTs were born, right? That's when, for me, like community building really came to light. If you have a look at the Bored Ape Yacht Club, who was not the first NFT project, it was actually CryptoKitties. But the Bored Ape Yacht Club was an NFT project that, within the space of, I think, 2 to 3 years, became the most infamous NFT project with some of the most famous individuals in the world, from Eminem and J. Cole and Jay-Z and many other people who I'm inspired by. Like, they invested millions of dollars into this, not because of the value, the NFT, which is a non-fungible token,
Yeah.
but because of the essence of community, what this meant. Because the Bored Ape Yacht Club, in-person events, they built a token where they gave a huge amount of the revenue from the token to the OG holders of the NFT, right? They rewarded their communities. They've given anyone who owns the NFT IP rights, so they can then go ahead and build their own brand. So there's people that have made TV shows from their apes. They've made drinks. They've made garments and clothing. They've made SaaS companies, right? By utilizing that IP. And that's what community is. You give equal and even opportunities to people who have helped you grow, right? So for me, of 2023, I launched something called the 100 community, which was a free community, and it still is, all with the essence of having the 100% mentality and a mindset to put in 100% in absolutely everything that you do. So I found that throughout 2021 and 2022, there were hundreds of people that were engaging in my content on the LinkedIn platform and on other social media platforms as well. Give back to them by creating more content, because I make a very niche type of content, which is always, not always, I do like really entertainment content as well, but it's always educational. I provide step-by-step instructions and guides in terms of how people can build their brand and how they can sell better. But then one thing that kind of bugged me, I was like, it's very one-sided interactions. I'm recording this content. I'm gonna type this content and put it out there. People engage in the comments. I can reply in the comments, but I don't have any interaction with these people. I don't know who they are. They know who I am because they see my content and they're engaging in me, but I don't know who they are. So one day I just messaged. I think I built a list on the LinkedIn platform of my 100 top engagers, right? And then I reached out to all of them and I was like, hey, I'm gonna make a community just to help you guys out for helping me, because every single time they engage in my content gets seen by more people. The more brand awareness I have, the more my company grows. So I built this community, and then 2 to 3 times a week for 11 months consistently. On Zoom calls, we built an ambassador program. We did free mentorships. We found jobs for people. We created courses and guides on how to grow via LinkedIn. I just everything I would like sell essentially to an extent, I would just give away to this community for free. And because of the fact that I gave so much, someone in the community said to me, Zach, like, you need to sell something here. Like, we would buy it from you because we know what value we get for you for free. And I can see sometimes whenever you're giving free stuff away, you tend to hold back, right? Because obviously you have a business. I'm like, totally get that. So, all the learnings that I have taught and learned over the past 3 to 4 years, I put it together in an 8 hour workshop called the LinkedIn Sales Operating the System, which you kindly bought. Super grateful. And I decided to privately market this to the community. Only a 6 week marketing process, right? First week, I gave first dibs to the community. The next week, I didn't do anything. The third week, people decided to record content about the workshop. They told other people to buy it, which I cried that night. I sat to my wife and I was like, I can't believe there are people that are advertising me for free. Like, that is insane to me. It shows the impact that you've made to people, right? And then the final week, I did how we met, right? I just jumped online and I was like, all right, I've already made X amount of sales. Why don't I like actually try to sell now? Because I know how to sell. And within the space of 6 weeks, I had over 211 people buy that course, which was insane to me, right? All because I gave value to individuals. It could be for a day, could be for a week, could be for a month, could be for a year, right? But you give value, you expect zero in return. And then when the time is right, you will know when the time is right, you offer something. You find a problem, you solve that problem, which for me it was the majority of the people inside my community, they struggled with learning how to brand themselves as an independent consultant. They struggled with learning how to find clients and close deals. So I told them how to build their profile, build their service deck, build a website, identify their customers, create the right kind of content, pitch people, book meetings. What else was in there? How to handle your sales call and how to actually close the deal. So we put like some contract templates and all of this stuff in there as well. And it was phenomenal. I'm tempted to do another one just because it was so fun. But that was my way of giving back to the community because every single Zoom meeting I did during that year, the look on the faces of people all over the world, right? We had about 700 people globally in the community. The look on their faces when I would tell them something, it was like, it was so nice for me. It was so nice for
Aha moments
to
for them. Yeah,
yeah, like just to be able to see like, all right, I'm not worthless. There are people in the world that take value from me,
yeah.
not just those that pay me, right? Those that are actually giving me their time. And time is the number one currency that you have, right? So if you respect your own time and people's times, the world will give back to you in beautiful ways. So I know like you're going through this thought process of community building and stuff like this. So just some like really, really, really easy top tips that I want to share is that if you are going to build a community, the number one thing that you want to do before that is build a personal brand. That could be via LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, any social media platform, even an email list. It could be through any social media medium that you have access to. Just start engaging with other people first and then start posting content consistently. At the same time, every single day, at least 5 days a week. This way, your audience will start to get into a habit and understand when Zach is posting, right? So they'll start coming back and make sure that the content that you're putting out there isn't talking about your community, isn't talking about your recruitment agency. It's not talking about all the success and the sales that you've made. It's just giving detailed instructions and advice and awareness on how they can do this by themselves, right? Talk about the biggest struggles entrepreneurs have when it comes to learning about AI. Then build a list of 17 tutorials that you found via YouTube that have helped you learn about AI tools. Share that list, right? That stuff will go viral. People will share the shit out of it. Sorry for swearing. And then more people will come back because you've given them free value away. That's how you build a personal brand. You have to give, and expect zero in return. That's the most important thing. And then when it comes to actually building out the community, Eric, as you know, there are many platforms that you can utilize. I'm not going to like name any now. You can just go online on Google and write community building platforms. The free usual suspects will appear at the top, and then you just have to do rather than think, because a lot of areas where people go wrong is they spend so much time behind the scenes planning. The website needs to look like this, the landing page should say this, I need to have this content, I need to record content, I need to do this. Just go on Canva, create a banner, create a logo, write a description with Chat GPT, right? And within 20 minutes, go onto the platform, open the community page and invite your friends. Get your friends in there first. Get your clients in there first. Get people that you know, right, online. Just
Yeah.
get them to join and start by them. Even though they're your friends and family and people who have paid you previously, start by them, right? Start by giving them all the utility of the community. And this is why I recommend to people never, unless you have a huge social media presence and awareness, don't open a community day one and start charging. That doesn't make sense, right? Always have a freemium version, right? Where people can have an entry to come into the community. And then you can have a paid tier, which isn't that much. It's about $5 to $10 just for them to get a little bit extra. And then you can have additional packages. As the community grows, you will grow and then you can monetize. Where communities fail is that people always attempt to make as much money as quick as they can. The money always comes. The moment you stop thinking about money is the moment you make money.
Yeah. Zach, what role do you play in terms of fostering sort of communication or sort of interaction among folks in your community, and how important is that?
So I'm super blessed. When it comes to 100 community, we've got a CMO, a CTO, a COO. Just like me, none of these people get paid. We do this for fun. We do this for free. We have a content creator. We have a community manager. We have people just like Q&A support within the community. What role do I? It's important to note that in the past few months, I've taken a step back because I've got a lot of other stuff going on right now, but the community is still there. But the role that I've always played was the educator. So I would host the masterclasses, right? So I would give opportunities for people to go to leverage my audience, my platform via LinkedIn. I would host masterclasses either with other people, for other people, or myself, and just give value away. So I would say, if you're going to build a community, if it's going to be a lead magnet for you to be able to get customers, because it can be, just make sure that the information and the focus that you're giving makes sense and it's for a need that people actually have. So, you as a recruiter, for example, what I would do is I would build a community where every single week you do one free masterclass for 45 minutes where you show the people who join the community how to headhunt themselves. You may think that's putting you out of a job, but it's not, because they're going to see how much hard work it goes into it, and you're going to give them all the tools, all the resources to be able
Yeah.
to do it. That by the time they go to execute on this, they're going to be like, Eric, can I just hire Jump Search to do it for us?
Yeah.
Because it's so much work. And you've proven to them that you know how to do it because you've
Yeah.
taught them how to do it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the role. Yeah.
No, that's excellent. It sounds like you built a bit of a leadership team around your community. You said it's volunteer, sort of volunteer based.
Of them. This all pretty much one by one, they just all came and said, like, how can we help? And I was like, really? I could do with some help because this is a lot.
It just happened organically.
Yeah, man, they got the exposure, they got the education from me. We've built a friendship. I've had so many people in the community where they've been able to meet people in real life because of the community. And there's
Yeah.
like awesome friendships that have been created. But if you give value to people, they will come back and offer to help you, you know? So
Yeah.
just
And
give
it
it your
sounds like
all.
Yeah, and it sounds like, freemium, don't be in a rush to try to monetize,
Nah,
build value, build credibility, and build relationships.
yeah, that's it.
That's what it's all about. Zach, there's so much that I feel like we are just
I
scratching the
can
surface.
keep going. I don't mind. I can keep going. It's
You
all
know,
good. It's fun.
um,
It's fun.
yeah, yeah. It's the whole community building thing is like, it's something that, I'm trying to learn from you. And I'm also trying to look at how some of these some of these practices can be applied to folks that might be early stage entrepreneurs, or they might be considering entrepreneurship, or they're just they're a master at their craft, be it software development or product management or what have you, and they're trying to learn how they can establish how they can promote themselves more effectively, or build a brand around themselves. And maybe their end goal is just to get a full-time position or full-time job, but maybe they don't want to be necessarily a community builder or an entrepreneur per se, but they want to learn from some of these lessons. And I think that's what I'm trying to tease out here a little bit, because I know a lot of our audience, they're executives, they're tech professionals, but they don't necessarily want to make that leap into entrepreneurship just yet. But there's still so many lessons you can learn from entrepreneurs like yourself that could help them with personal branding. And so just trying to tease some more of that out if we can.
I got you. Yeah, I mean, it does definitely start with your own personal brand, even though you may want to be employed by an organization, right? Especially if it's like a customer facing or like a marketing position. That company is going to hire you because they want someone to help them grow their brand in one way or another. If
Right.
the hiring manager has seen that this individual has a personal brand themselves, they'll be more inclined to hire that individual. It could even be a software dev, right, that has a social media presence, that has an audience, right?
Yeah.
Even though their job doesn't have anything to do with community building or customer facing, it's still going to add more value because it shows that they're a people person, they're a team player, they have commitment, they have the right kind of a
Yeah.
mindset towards growth. So that's always a role that plays a massive important sense. One thing that people should always consider is going onto the LinkedIn platform. I hope the majority of your audience are already there. If they're not, they should like really carve out time by just engaging with other people. I would say build a list of like 5 to 6 people who you find influential. Could be Simon Sinek, could be Gary Vaynerchuk, could be Sarah Blakely, could be anyone, could be Eric, could be Zach, could be Tom, Dick, or Harry, could be anyone, but
Yeah.
just consistently engage in their content. But not only should you engage in their content, get involved in the conversation in the comments, because that's where the magic happens. You'll be able to build relationships with individuals who have invested time in that influencer, I'll call them, right? You've identified their core audience just by getting involved in the comments. So if you play your cards in the right way, you show up every single day that that person is posting, you're contributing towards a conversation, you're replying to their comments, you're engaging in their content of the other commenters, you're building relationships. And over time, they will become your very loyal supporters as well, right?
Yeah.
Because you've given value to them. And then, like, one of the biggest struggles that people face, especially when it comes to content on the LinkedIn platform, is creating that content. They open up the post box and they're like, I don't know what to write. So they don't write. That's the biggest issue. Every single person should spend 3 to 4 minutes every single day releasing a post on the LinkedIn platform. But the majority of CEOs or independent business owners, they think it is going to take them 3 or 4 hours a day to make a good quality piece of content, right? And then when it comes to things like ChatGPT, it's so obvious when ChatGPT has created a post for you. You see the very usual connotations in every single post, the same emojis and all of this stuff, right? But thankfully, for everyone who's having a listen to this podcast today, they can go to, I just want to make sure I get the dots correct. Yeah. They can go to EasyGen, right? Which is a phenomenal tool that's been created by the most famous content creator on the LinkedIn platform. I would like to say my good friend, Ruben Hassid, who within the space of 24 months, this guy has gone from 10,000 followers to 420,000 followers, reaching over, I don't know, something crazy like 80 million readers on his content. He's released EasyGen, which is essentially an AI tool to create content specifically for LinkedIn. It's absolutely phenomenal. This weekend, just for fun, I created 6 posts in 3 minutes, and all of these posts that I've released, they've reached over, I think in total it was about like 36,000 people. It took me
Yeah.
6 minutes and I didn't do anything. All I did was buy a subscription to EasyGen, which is $49 a month, and you can get $10 off a month for free. Sorry, that's so bad. It's $49.99 a month, but you can receive it for $39.99 if you use the code ZACK, ZACK, right?
We'll put that in the
Yeah,
show notes for sure. And it's
yeah,
easy,
no,
Jen.
it's
Easy. Yeah.
easygen.io. I will ping you the link, so maybe we can put the link at the bottom of this for people to go
Yeah.
through, or just go to follow Ruben Hassid. That's Ruben. Surname is HASSID on the LinkedIn platform. And he's posting about this stuff every single day. There's a community of over like 10,000 people that are paying for this platform, and he only launched
Yeah.
it 2 months ago, right? It's insane. It is the single best tool. And for myself, who's very protective over my content for LinkedIn, I would never hire a ghostwriter. I would never hire anyone to even create a graphic for me for LinkedIn, because this is how I run my business through the inbound leads that I generate from my content. But then when it came to Ruben and the growth that he had, and just because I appreciate him as as an entrepreneur, I took a look at his tool and I was like, this is insane. Like this actually works. It writes like Zach. That's the most
Yeah.
important thing. It writes like me.
Do
You
you have to
feed
train
it
it?
information, not that much, right? Not
That's
that much. I can show you after this how easy it is. I can just pretty much open up the Chrome extension, can give it a prompt that I don't know. Can I share screen here?
yeah, sure.
I
Let
think
me.
it'll be pretty fun for the audience to maybe see. So,
You should be able to.
yeah,
Yeah.
can't believe I'm doing this on a podcast. This is hilarious. All right, cool. So, let me just open up. Let me just go to. Just have ChatGPT. Maybe not. 1 second. Let me just I'm just, yeah, easygen.io, just so everyone can see, right? This is the website. This is the Chrome extension, right? So what I do is I just go to EasyGen, and then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to create a post, okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to either choose a topic suggestion or I'm going to write a topic over here, right? So the topic I'm going to write is how consultants can create a multi-channel sales funnel using Apollo IO and the LinkedIn sales platform for better lead generation. And then I'm just going to go ahead and generate the post. The first iteration that you get isn't always going to be the best iteration. So this is why it's always good to regenerate it. But the AI has been trained by Ruben himself, who has written thousands and thousands of posts that have reached millions and millions of people. It's been created in his particular format, which is the best format to utilize on the LinkedIn platform. This, for me, right? This is amazing. It's like if you can master your sales funnel, you can master leads. Here's how. And then it's got step by step instructions and
Yeah.
it goes into more detail. This is a really good post for LinkedIn. I put this out there. This is easily going to get about 60 comments and 150 likes. There's no question. But I'm just going to regenerate it because I know it can do a little bit better, right? So I really like this one over here. I'm a consultant. This is really cool. All right. So I'm a consultant. I struggle to find relatable leads. It was hard to keep track of clients, but there's more. I was able to find Apollo. I created a multi channel sales process. I now generate better leads consistently. But how? And then it's got step by step instructions and it's got more details. You can take it a step further. You can regenerate it again, right? And it's just going to get better and better and better every regeneration that you do, right? So
Yeah.
anyone can create content with EasyGen, and with code ZACK, you get $10 off a month. So take advantage. But
And the
yeah,
point is
it's
that you
great,
don't need to
man.
be a pro. Like, the point is you don't need to be
You
a
don't.
pro in terms of
You just
copywriting
need
or
to use
whatnot.
EasyGen. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it's, one of the things that I always encourage folks to start to develop their own personal brand, get their thoughts out there, whatever domain of expertise they have, they can carve out a nice niche and be very focused about creating content around that, and they'll start to get known for that. So if they're a job seeker, most job seekers are not creating content. They're just not. And so if they start creating content or posts or just journaling about their journey of learning or even their past journey in terms of, the things that they've worked on or things like that, they'll start to become known for that, right? And again, most people are not doing that. So if you just do that as a job seeker, as somebody that's looking to put yourself out there and connect with the right people, you'll start to attract, what you put out there, you'll start to attract that into your life and into your
One
search. So there's so
Absolutely.
many tools, right?
I think it's important, right, for job seekers as well. If they would like to get hired, they should share their expertise and the information and the skill set that they've learned in previous jobs, right? So, for example, if a CMO is trying to get hired, give a case example of a project, if they're not under NDA, of a project that they've previously worked on, what they did, and what the challenges and the struggles were, and what the results were, right? This is showcasing their expertise. And also, as it relates to EasyGen for job seekers, right, they can go onto EasyGen and write, I'm a job seeker and I would like to showcase my skills in a LinkedIn post. A job title is CMO. I've worked on projects for X, Y, and Z. Here's an example of one. Write a great post about it. That's going to get me hired, right? It will work the magic. And that took what, 12 seconds for me to think of that, right? And then obviously the other use case for this is if you don't want the AI to write content that you're going to publish, do the prompting into EasyGen, and whatever it gives you, just use that as inspiration to write something yourself. Because inspiration, as I mentioned earlier, people open up the post box and they don't know what to write. They need that inspiration, right?
Yeah.
So there we go.
It's a great example too, Zach, of sort of integrating these new technologies, specifically generative AI and these derivative tools into into your productivity, your creativity. It'll increase your creativity, it'll increase your capacity, it'll increase your capabilities, right? And I know there's a lot of great people out there that are not used. They're historically they've been individual contributors, right? They're very good at what they do and they do what they do. But one of the hurdles that I've seen is sort of getting over that hump in terms of being able to delegate, delegate it to an AI, delegate it to maybe another team member, a virtual assistant, for example. And that gives you the ability to be focused more on the creative side, the strategic side, right? And so just making that hurdle has been key for me, even just the past year. And so
Awesome.
yeah, it's a big hurdle then that with these tools now you don't have to hire an intern. You can have an intern, and even more than just an intern. You can have an expert in whatever domain that you can have a conversation with via an agent or a GPT, right? And so it's a
I
great
need
new way.
to, dude, I need to tell you something. I recently had to go get a CT scan, right? Just to be cautious and things like this. I had an
Yeah,
x ray, there was a shadow on my lung. And so I was obviously cautious. Thankfully, it was just because of an injury, and I'm totally okay. But I got the CT scan, I got the CD from the CT scan, and my appointment to see the consultant was like a week after. And I was like getting kind of temperamental because I was really curious to understand because I'm not an expert, I'm not a radiologist, I can't read this. So what I did, I took a screen recording of the CT scan, right? It was 1 minute 44 seconds long. I uploaded this into ChatGPT, right? And I had a 1.5 hour conversation with ChatGPT where it essentially acted like a
yeah,
senior board certified radiologist with 45 years of experience that has treated over 15,000 patients, right? I told it to act in that way, and it just pulled everything apart. It gave me best case, worst case scenarios, gave me questions to ask the consultant. It was an hour and a half well spent because I went and I saw the consultant, and there were things that I shouldn't say this, but there were things that the consultant forgot to pick up that I brought it up, and then they had another look at it. Right?
yeah,
It's insane. Like I'm so grateful that we live in the generation where we have access to this
yeah,
technology. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
and it's only the beginning, man. Like what's
yeah,
gonna happen in
yeah.
20 years? I just hope I'm alive to figure it out, you know? So yeah.
And here's the thing, it's so accessible, Zach. Like it's so
Hmm.
accessible now through ChatGPT, through Perplexity, through
Hmm.
Notebook LM. Like the
Yeah,
ability to use these technologies, like you don't have to be a coder. You just need to.
yeah,
What I've found is that the people that are able to use these technologies best are one, they're open to learning new things.
yeah,
Two, they're curious and they're asking good questions. They're learning how to ask for help. These things are these tools now are available, and the derivative of the tools are available too. But just the core tools like ChatGPT, these different LLMs. I stumbled upon Notebook LM just recently, and amazing, right? It's a whole new way of analyzing and interrogating and having a conversation with your own content. Well, you can put other people's content in there too, but it's amazing, right? And I don't use Google anymore. I do still use Google, but I only use it to find links. I use Perplexity now. I've set my browser default search engine to be Perplexity, and I've upgraded to the Pro version. Actually, if anybody out there is using have the Hyatt Chase card, and if anybody's using the Hyatt Chase card, or maybe just a Chase card, credit card, they have a free thing where you get a free 1 year subscription to Perplexity. That's
sweet.
$20 a month. What is that? $240. Check it out. If you're a Chase card user, you probably have access to that perk. Anyway, Perplexity. Yeah. So it's an exciting new time now, Zach, and I think that if it's not coming across between you and me to our audience, I don't know what to do, but it's an exciting time right now, and I
I
think
would
folks.
definitely like go online and identify these people that have completely dedicated their 2024 and future years to educating people about AI, like Ruben Hassid,
Yeah.
and just go and follow these people because this is like master classes, hundreds of thousands of bucks worth of content that they're just giving away for free. Right,
Yeah.
like this is how I learned about AI because I watched other people, right, and it's insane. I mean, it's so crazy to a point right now where I'm training my clients on how to prompt chat GPT. It's not what they pay me for, right? It's sales and growth, but it's kind of part of the process and it's included
It is.
into our sales modules now.
Yeah.
And it's insane. It's insane. I'm very, very, very grateful for AI. And as Ruben likes to say, you have to master AI before it masters you, because it will. So we can
Yeah.
end there.
Yeah. Good stuff, Zach. No, I really
Thank you, man.
appreciate.
I've enjoyed this.
Yeah, I really appreciate your friendship and your, just everything that you're doing for the community out there in your community. And it's a brave new world right now, and I'm trying to help folks connect with folks like yourself, right? And there's a lot of opportunity out there, and things will turn around with respect to the tech, the bit of the tech downturn. And so the work that people are doing now to kind of position themselves, it's going to pay dividends, I promise. And so connect with Zach. We'll provide his contact information in the show notes. And Zach, I want to do this again with you because I feel like we've just scratched the surface. And so
Round
I hope
two.
yeah, there will be a round two. Have a great weekend, and thank you everyone out there. Zach, any parting words?
I've used Eric's firm for recruitment, right? So, like, that's a good thing to consider. You should hire this guy. One of the best recruiters I know. That's
Thank you,
it.
Zach. I really appreciate that.
Got you,
Have a
man.
great weekend, everyone, and
Cool.
we'll see you soon.
See you all soon. Thank you. Bye.